is nothing.
Today, we're taking a look at the 4AC in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. This video is actually a redo of my very first YouTube video, which I have since quietly deleted about a month or so ago. Anyways, I have been meaning to get back to this one again because it is in my top 5 favorite guns in the game, and a couple of you were asking about it. I just want to say this right off the bat, I swing this thing around like a baseball bat in a pinch, so I am excited for this one, and I'm excited to bring you this one. So, I will be giving you guys my thoughts on the gun, as well as taking this thing out to test against both Sentinel and Wolf targets, but before we do that, let's set this thing up. We're gonna go with the ASR standard barrel, the ASR standard magazine, the ASR suppressor, the Moldier, the ACOG sight, the UBR Gen 2 stock, an auto single trigger, and lastly the grip pod. Now that we have this thing all set up, I'm gonna discuss why I chose those parts that I did, but before we do that, let's test this thing out against both Sentinel and Wolf targets, single shot, center mass, and we're gonna see how well this thing takes them down. We're gonna start off with Sentinel using a suppressor. 2 shots with a suppressor, without a suppressor now. 2 shots confirmed. Let's do Wolves with a suppressor. 7 shots, without a suppressor now. 5 shots confirmed. Alright, well, now that we have this thing all set up and we went through those power tests, I am going to be discussing why I chose those parts that I did and share my thoughts on the gun. Alright, so I went with that Moldier because it has the best visibility of all the lasers in the game, but also because it greatly benefits this rifle overall because the 4AC is highly accurate in close to mid-ranged engagements, as well as even long-range engagements too. So, when you pair that Moldier shot spread reduction of 20% with that grip pod's vertical recoil reduction of 7% and range boost of 10, you're looking at a literal monster in your hands, capable of taking down targets at a multitude of ranges with certainty. I went with that ACOG because I find it works so well with this gun, and it really allows you to make those shots. I have proof right here for you, but as I've stated many times before, if the gun allows you to have a digital scope on the gun, you can always put that on and really test those range capabilities out if the ACOG isn't doing it for you and the ACOG's not your cup of tea. You may think I'm crazy for stressing about how well this thing hits targets at a distance, but this little gun really does that. Yes, it does. This gun is great at hitting those targets further out, so that's why we went with those 2 scope options that allow for that, both those ACOGs and those digital sights. As much as I like using this thing to pick off targets at a distance, I must say that this thing is exceptional at close ranges too. It has a decently high fire rate that really does hit hard. With those 5-shot tests against Wolves while unsuppressed, you can really burst fire and drop Wolves in a pinch when you go loud if you get spotted. Now, I did pick that standard suppressor because it is a vital accessory to have on your rifle, especially when you're trying to remain stealth. I noticed that with the 4AC, even if you have the suppressor on, you can still hit those targets, even the ones further out. I actually prefer the 4AC with a suppressor on at all times. It's my preferred way of using it. I find myself even sometimes keeping it on even after I get spotted because it really doesn't have too much of a negative effect at all in the slightest on how the power output is with this gun and how well this thing hits and takes down targets. Remember when I said I can swing this thing around like a baseball bat at the start? Here, have a look. This weapon absolutely affords you that tight cornered flexibility often found in many of the SMGs in the game, so if you want a well-rounded rifle that can act as both an assault rifle and an SMG, do use the 4AC because this thing plays like a literal miracle. You need to be able to move fast with the 4AC and have that flexibility of bouncing between different ranges on the fly. The 4AC definitely affords you that, but not only that, this thing can absolutely be your single choice weapon for when you want to run with just a single loadout kit, because again, we built this thing to afford us that flexibility of the different ranges, but even just the stock weapon without all the attachments we did put on, I guarantee you this rifle will provide you that. So I can't stress enough how great this gun is. It was one of the best additions to the game post-launch. Just need to unlock it by completing those Amber Sky missions, which I actually do really like. So overall, the 4AC assault rifle is a phenomenal ASR with a very high fire rate, incredible control, very manageable recoil, if any at all. This thing feels very tight and very accurate. Definitely try and use this thing for all types of engagements because I guarantee you it will deliver you great results. This is a highly adaptable rifle that ranks high amongst the other ASRs in the game, so do use that setup I gave you at the start and you can't go wrong. Again, this is one of my top 5 favorite guns in this game, so I do use it, and I do use it very much. And I want it to be one of your favorites too. So that's the 4AC assault rifle. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I inspired you to even use this thing if you haven't touched it in a while. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and take it easy.